Okay, I will speak about our regional office of astronomy for development. Let's start, not to lose time. You know, IAU has such an initiative to create regional offices all over the world, and almost the whole world is covered by 11 regional offices. The center is in South Africa, Cape Town. It is called Office of Astronomy for Development. And the other offices are regional offices of astronomy for development. So we have actually 10 regional offices. One is language center, but more or less equal to such regional offices. Language center for Portuguese language. They are Portuguese-speaking countries are unified in this center. And this is for coordination of activities by in this initiative in the frame of astronomy for development. But anyway, though the initial purpose was only, let's say, astronomy for development, but most of the offices also work for development of astronomy, which is completely different. So George Miley, who was the initiator, he was the vice president of IAU at the time. The beginning was in 2009 at the General Assembly in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And the initiative started its activities immediately. The first office in South Africa was created in 2011. So, and George Miley always was saying that it is not development of astronomy, but astronomy for development, was the goal SDG, like development. But anyway, because in many countries astronomy was not developed, especially in many African countries, South American, Asian. So these offices served really for everything, actually, including communication, education, whatever related to astronomy. That's why it's very important to link between, to make links between these offices, which are now 4 in the world, offices by IAU. One is for development, one is, as you know, OAO, which is the main organizer of this meeting. This is in Tokyo, Kelly, and Kelly, Cynthia, Aviva, Naomi. So all this team, Office of Astronomy for Outreach, and the other one is Office of Astronomy for Education, which is in Heidelberg in Germany, and also very important. They have a lot of initiatives, and there is also Office for Young Astronomers. And the main activities of this office is the series of IAU schools, which are called ISHIA, International School for Young Astronomers. So we are so tightly collaborating that I cannot even distinguish between the activities of our office related to science. There are 3 task forces: university and research, then children at school, which is for education, and public outreach. And we very often have family meetings, as we call all these offices, together with IAU 4 offices, and then also activities which now there are 3 flagship projects for OAD, and everybody of these regional offices participate also. And this flagship, among flagship projects, one is astrotourism, which is directly related to outreach. And the other 2 are, one is astronomy for mental health, and the other one is hackathons, big data hackathons. So more or less also for training, for education, for, why not for outreach also. So I'm still waiting for the file, but be sure I know it by heart. So unfortunately the pictures will not be there if we don't find finally. So we created our office in 2015, which was one of the first, let's say, After that, even the European office, in Europe, astronomy is very, very developed, but was created much later. The American office also was created, North American, I mean, was created much later. These two are the recent offices, by the way. In Africa, there are 3 such offices. In Asia, also 3, plus Arabic, which is both in Asia and north of Africa. Then South American, which is called Andean office, and as I said, told, our, which is by the name, yes, by the way, I did name it is Southwest and Central Asian. So it is a new geographical definition. By the way, Armenia is a very strange country. Armenia is located in at least 5 or 6 different geographical places. One we call Middle East. The other one that we call it is former Soviet Union. Then Europeans call it European Eastern Partnership countries. Then it is Armenian Highlands, islands by historical, and even now geographically it is called Armenian Highlands. Of course, it is South Caucasus also, and whatever, I don't know what else. But we created this office and named it Southwest Asian. And then when Central Asian countries also joined, it was extended to Southwest and Central Asian Regional Office. So maybe astronomy is good that can even dictate, introduces new geopolitical regions, because really these countries collaborate, these countries work together in many. There are Arab countries decided to have their own office because this was important for their language. They use Arabic language, and it is easier to communicate for them. But in our region, of course, we use English, and okay, yeah, it's there. The countries are completely different, and of course, yes, it's there. Cynthia, thank you very much. Can I ask to change the slides?
Yes, of course. Sorry for the delay. We find it.
Yes,
Let me know which
can
one.
go forward a few at least,
Yes.
to be in time. Yes. So yeah, this is very important slide because IAU initiative relates directly to the astronomy as the center of the previous one, please. The astronomy as the center of all sciences, technologies, culture, and society. And astronomy is really connected to everything. Maybe it is there are small letters, but I list here a lot of disciplines, interdisciplinary sciences, which appeared later, of course, in recent years, and many of them are related to astronomy. So I call astronomy as the leader of interdisciplinary sciences among all sciences. Really, astronomy is the leader. Astrobiology, astrochemistry. By the way, I think astrophysics was the first interdisciplinary science which appeared at the end of 19th century. So even this term was not there, interdisciplinary science, but astrophysics is really the first interdisciplinary. Astrophysics appeared when spectroscopic studies started, actually, and some of astronomers decided to call themselves astrophysicists and be a bit higher than other astronomers. They considered themselves a bit more serious compared to other astronomers. But it is, of course, funny situation because, for example, celestial mechanics, which is mechanics, one of the main fields of physics, is out of astrophysics. It is not astrophysics. Celestial mechanics and maybe some other fields also in astronomy are not considered astrophysics. So anyway, these are terms, but the essence is that really there are a lot of things in the universe. By the way, we are in a very important stage of development of science and maybe society, because before, astronomy was a small science working with very, let's say, limited number of things. But now we know that in the universe there is everything related to all sciences, and it means that every science can be extended and developed due to data coming from the space. Let's say even not, let us not to call astronomy, just calling data coming from the space, which are important for all sciences. And for example, if we take geology, geology has everything discovered and all understanding based on studies on the Earth. And now we know that there are a lot of planets and some planetary moons which are studied very well in detail, and they are like doubling, not doubling, but 10 times now more information is available for geology, which is we could call astrogeology, maybe, but this really planetary science, which comes to enrich and multiply the possibilities and knowledge in geology. Similarly, all others, and that's why it's very important to make. By the way, this is really directly connected to communication, also the main subject of our conference, because we can communicate with each other, with every other science and the society through different possibilities, the different knowledge, different aspects. And everybody knows that astronomy is the best science for communication to society because it's interesting, it's romantic, it's attracting, etc., compared to many other sciences. Next slide, please, Cynthia. Thank you. So these are the offices, the list of all offices. I already passed through this. Please, next slide. Okay. Also, I said about these task forces. Next slide, please. And flagship projects also. I named Astro Tourism, then Astronomy for Mental Health, and Big Data Hackathons. Next slide, please. Okay, this is our region. We're a very conflicted region. You know, there are a lot of wars in the history there were, and now even it is for us, of course, some, let's say, something that is good for astronomy, that we are like, as we call it very often, science or astronomy without borders. You know, here we have Iranians and US people, and they are very good friends. I already noticed that they meet, they speak, they discuss a lot of things, and independent of the war. So astronomy can be something to strengthen communication between nations, not only people, not only society in general, but between nations. And also we can say that science is over politics, is higher than politics. And the same is, by the way, for Armenia. Armenia also has a lot of conflicts, a lot of problems with neighboring countries. But it is, you know, I am proud that these countries somehow trusted Armenia to be the regional center, regional office for astronomy of astronomy for development. And we somehow collaborate. There are a lot of colleagues here that they can, of course, confirm that we don't have any problems between each other, and we collaborate. We make communication. We organize a lot of meetings, workshops, schools, and other events. Next slide, please. Cynthia? Okay. So this is the creation of the office in Hawaii during the IAU General Assembly. Next slide, please. Okay, this we can pass quickly. We don't have much time. Okay, the team, of course, there are a lot of people working, and it is based on in Byurakan Astrophysical Observatory. Next slide, please. We created a big web page due to this initiative for all countries in the region. And we have sorted, for example, the information into astronomical institutes, astronomical societies, journals, amateur organizations, etc., etc. So you can go into our webpage and see everything about these countries, whatever is available about these countries. I can name again Armenia, Georgia, Iran, then Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Turkey. Next slide, please. And another example of such web page. Next, please. Okay, for example, here we give astronomy in Iran, starting from historical texts coming to modern observatories, telescopes. So this is, of course, agreed with our Iranian colleagues. They give texts, and then we have astronomy in Georgia, astronomy in Turkey, whatever. And we collaborate really with all these countries. Next, please. Next will be maybe, okay, meetings and schools. This is one of the best way of communication. And we have very many meetings and schools series, by the way, currently being organized a lot of such events. And among them, I can list, for example, UNESCO regional astronomical conferences, twice in 17 and 25. Then regional workshops, regional summer schools, and interdisciplinary meetings. Among interdisciplinary, we have a series of such conferences named Relation of Astronomy to Other Sciences, Culture, and Society, RASCs, like the acronym. And then some other meetings and schools also for younger scientists. Next, please. Okay, these are regional workshops and schools. Again, during this recent 10 or 12 years, we had at least 15 important meetings. Next slide, please. Okay, for example, an example of Armenian-Iranian astronomical workshop. This was the first we started such a series. We had before Armenian-Georgian colloquia, astronomical colloquia, which were established by Ambartsuman and Kharadze, directors for many years. Next slide. Next slide is one of the examples of Armenian-Georgian, yes, colloquia, and why it is easy and important to have such colloquia or workshop between neighboring countries, because it's very easy for transportation. Georgian colleagues take a minibus and come to us in a few hours, and then we provide all accommodation and everything, meals, etc. And vice versa. When we go to Georgia, they provide everything. So, and this is easy, very easy. By the way, the idea of creation of regional offices by the IAU was similar. So if it is a regional offices, if these are neighboring countries, it's much easier to communicate, to make, to organize workshops, etc., to travel to each other. And you know, this idea is in EAAS, for example, in the International Schools for Young Astronomy, in IVOA, mainly neighboring countries are encouraged, people from neighboring countries are encouraged to participate. Next slide, please. Okay, interdisciplinary and other meetings, I already named some, so we can go quickly. Next slide, please. Funded projects. There are some possibilities for funding, especially OAD through IAU, of course. It gives grants for small projects. Typically, it is from 5,000 to 12, maybe 15,000 euros every year. They gave, let's say, in the past, they gave 10, 15, even 18 projects they funded. But I don't know why. This can answer maybe IAU administration only. They gradually they decreased this funding. It was before 120,000 euros, and gradually now it will be next year, I think, 60 euros or something like this. So funds go to different directions. Maybe this is policy by IAU that regional offices also can find other possibilities for funding for activities. Anyway, next slide, please. Yeah, this is astrotourism. This is one of the best projects that we run, and we collected all information from our neighboring countries. In this case, Uzbekistan is also included because Uzbekistan also has a lot of astronomical heritage. And you can see the classification of items for astrotourism. Here we have modern astronomical institutes or observatories. We have ancient astronomical sites. We have planetariums. We have museums of astronomy or space. There are some related to space. We have rock art. We have sundials. I think that these ones. So from both sides, you can see the icons, and you can go and see, for example, all sundials that we collected information about them. In the bottom, you see the flags of countries, so you can go to one of the countries and see whatever is whatever we have about astronomical tourism. Astronomical tourism is part of scientific tourism, but maybe one of the most developed part. For example, in Armenia, we are the initiator. The Byurakan Astrophysical Observatory was the initiator of scientific tourism, and we collaborate with the Institute of Tourism in Armenia. We collaborate with IAU, of course, and we already have been awarded to 3 grants related to astrotourism. One of these was this to create a web page. We created a map. Then we made a small film. We accomplished a lot of visits to sites, paid to people who investigated, and they gave us information about all these sites that are related to astronomical tourism. So it was a lot of work actually, but anyway, now we see the results, and you can go and have a lot of information. Of course, more things can be added. Of course, we are not sure that we are complete 100%. Next slide, please. Yeah, and of course, our office is also important to serve as a link between Europe and Asia. First, this is because in Europe, the Office of Astronomical Development was created on the basis of European Astronomical Society. So all those countries which had affiliated societies to EAAS, the European Society, they entered the European Regional Office. And it appeared that Armenia and Turkey also were members of European Astronomical Society. So now we are partially also in European office, but we have our own office, as I called, Southwest and Central Asia. And this is the first maybe example of good collaboration between two offices, because we participate in all their activities also, and we host our office. So, and really, as I said, Europeans consider Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Moldova, and Belarus as European Eastern Partnership countries, which is important to extend the activities of Europe to the East. And why it is important? Because, you know, Europe has a lot of possibilities, including ESO in astronomy, for example, ESA in space sciences, and of course, it is for all other countries, all our these six countries, it is beneficiary to collaborate with Europe. Next, please. Yeah, with Arab world also as our neighboring office, we have very tight collaboration, and we have many visits to each other. Once we organized joint, it was also the first time to organize joint inter-regional school, and we both, let's say, supported for this in funding of this school. It was in Armenia, but anyway, Arab countries were very active. Arab participants were a lot at that school. It was 2 years ago, and it was the first such example. I think we succeeded. Next, please. Next are some collaboration with Sharjah University. We signed there in Sharjah with the president of Sharjah University, Professor Hamid Al-Naimi. Then the next one, please. And collaboration with Iranian Astronomical Society, between Iranian and Armenian Astronomical Society. You can see Professor Moen Mosli, who is the president of the Iranian Astronomical Society. Next one, please. Okay, I already talked about this. These are 4 IAU offices, and it is very nice that there is a very tight collaboration between these offices, and all the regional offices also work tightly with the others. I can remember that we started activities in countries by OAE and OAO due to our regional office, because the heads, actually the heads of these offices, contacted me to asking to name candidates to be national outreach coordinators and then national education, as they call NIAX, education coordinators, to work tightly with them. And really now the collaboration is there, and the links are very active to these people, and we work together, let's say. Okay, next, please. Okay, future plans. So, of course, we would like to extend our our region, let's say, because some countries are out of this initiative. In the world, actually, now, I don't know how it happened, but Russia, it was before the war, of course, before any sanctions, but Russia was out of this initiative. In addition, the Central America is not yet part of the project of astronomy for development. Australia is not yet, and some South Asian countries. We had some discussions with them, including some of Central Asian countries are out. Though the region is considered very big, and some countries have official agreements with us, some do not have, but anyway, they are in the region. So the plans are to try to contact to these countries and to include them also to enlarge our initiatives, our activities in the region. Next, please. Yeah. In Byurakan Astrophysical Observatory, we created public relations department. Maybe it is common for European or American, I don't know, for developed countries, but in Armenia, it was the first case that in a scientific institute, we have such a department. Until now, in other scientific institutions in Armenia, nobody has a department for public relations. That's why it is important that we give attention, very high importance to this, for communication, for tourism. There are a lot of visits to Byurakan Observatory, including the one that is expected tomorrow. We will go there, and it is part of astronomical tourism. By the way, yes, we should tell directly that astronomical conferences are part of tourism. Tourism is not only when you go just to visit astronomical sites. When astronomers organize conference, I think it is another case, another form of astronomical tourism, because scientists go to one country, and even you, if you don't visit astronomical sites, even if you visit like Garni, Gerard, or somewhere else, historical sites, but it is tourism for astronomers. So astronomical tourism can be understood twice, in two different ways: to visit astronomical sites by anybody, or to visit anywhere by astronomers. So we try to develop both. So next, please. I think I'm finishing. Yes. Scientific journalism in Armenia. Of course, we speak a lot about this. Not going to stop on this. Next, please. And we will have another talk about this while we did. And astronomical education. Okay, we can pass quickly because here we have coffee break time. Cynthia, please, next slides quickly. Yeah, there are a lot of projects. You can see the list. I'm not going to stop on each of the items, but we have a lot of teacher training programs, summer camps, then visits to schools, etc., etc. Next, please. Yeah, Olympiads also. Next, please. So these are parts of astronomical education. Next, please, school lectures. I talked about it. Summer camps, as I said, science camps, and then teacher training. And here we collaborate with international organizations like OAE, then NASE, Network for Astronomy School Education, then GTTP was initially the main projects. Next, please. Next two are related to the teacher training programs. Okay. The next one, and then maybe we are finishing. Yes, next one, please. Okay. These are some suggestions that we discussed with some of colleagues, because recently the situation changed in Asia, in Asian region. A lot of medium-sized and big telescopes appeared, which was not the case before. So who is interested, we can maybe meet and discuss if we can create a network as it is in Europe. In Europe, you know, there is Opticon. So let's go forward. The same with virtual observatories and the same with astrotourism projects. The next one is astrotourism. Okay, so in Asia, for example, we don't have very active astrotourism. Now we have very many astronomical sites for tourism. So this is a question for discussion. Next one, please. And yes, this is the last one, I think. Byurakan Astrophysical Observatory. Let's postpone this to tomorrow, because when you come to Byurakan, I will tell a lot about Byurakan Observatory and its activities. Okay, thank you very much. I think it is the last one. Yes, thank you.
Does this work? It works. Are there any questions? Thank you for the excellent talk, by the way.
Hear me? Yes, okay. This is Laszlo Kis from Hungary. I have no question but a comment. With all these achievements, Armenia and astronomy, let me add one which I found missing. Armenia is by far the most eastern member country of Astronomy and Astrophysics, the journal. Armenia is a sponsoring body. Areg is actually the Armenian member of the board of directors of the journal, which means Armenian astronomers can publish in ANA for free. So that's another achievement which shows that Armenian astronomy is strong and flourishing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the comments. Other questions?
Hello, it's a quick question. How do you deal with language barriers? Because like from the Portuguese-speaking countries, we are not in the same region, but we do speak the same language. Yeah. And how is it in like your astronomy communication or education activities?
English is our common language, and in case of many projects, we make translations. Each country can, of course, translate materials if there are some instructions, etc., whatever. And each country can, of course, translate, because not everybody speaks English in the country, especially the school children.
Thanks. One last question on site, and then we go to the online questions.
Thank you very much, first, for all the organization. It's been great to be here in Armenia, beautiful country. And I mean, it's great to hear that there's so much collaboration with countries here. It's a complicated region in terms of political terms. But being the IAU such a strong organization, and I mean, you are in the Office for Development here in the region, is there any initiatives to actually raise the voice, for example, of the scholasticide that took place in Gaza, where all universities were bombed? Or, for example, even Iran, now that yesterday was bombed again, so.
You know, sometimes we tried. I can tell, let's tell one negative example. When I sent a message to the Euro-Asian Astronomical Society, which is in Moscow, related to conflict. By the way, I am also a member of Euro-Asian. Euro-Asian Society is like the society which was created in Soviet Union, and as there were both European and Asian countries, it was called like this, Euro-Asian, EAAS, double A. And they answered that the policy is not to work with any, not to interfere any conflict, not to be active. I don't accept this approach because you are very right that astronomers, scientists can do a lot, and just raising voice is not a problem. We can do always this. Yes, we try. We didn't succeed. I can tell that we don't have anything to now give as an example that we succeeded. Once when it was war between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and Israel also was interfering somehow, we wrote to our Israeli colleagues, and they wrote a letter to their prime minister. This is what they could do. But there was no answer. There was no response again. So we can try. Anyway, I agree that we should be active in this.
Okay, Cynthia, are there any online questions?
Not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So
thank
I
you.
think let's thank our speaker
Thank you.
again. And the
Thank
previous
you,
speaker.
Areg.